you think of high octane, adrenaline pumping action. And I couldn't think of better doer to be a part of it, which is Siddharth Anand as a director. And of course, Tiger Shroff as one of the main leads. I mean, come on. I mean, we know, we've seen the kind of work both of you have done in your own ways. And I know that it's a perfect combination. Now, Siddharth, you've said that you would have probably scrapped it if Tiger would have said no to it. Was it that important that you only get him? Would you really have done that?
Scrapped, not the film, but definitely scrapped for the time being because this film is about pairs. It's a Tiger and Hrithik pairing that was crucial to the film because I had actually written it assuming that they are doing the film. I'd assumed. So it was critical for me because then to come back and, for example, if Hrithik had said yes and Tiger had said, "Nahi yaar, I don't want to do 2 hero film at this stage in my life," or whatever, for whatever reason, it would have been tough for me to cast someone as Khalid because when you see the film, you can't imagine anybody else but Tiger as Khalid. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
I hope so.
It's impossible. So I think it was very critical that both of them, Hrithik and Tiger, said yes to their respective parts. Or if Hrithik had said, "I want to play Khalid," and he had said, "I want to play Kabir." So
It would have got a complicated thing.
that would have been very off.
Yeah. And I wonder, and just putting it out there, wonder what you would have done if you had to be the mentor instead. Super awkward?
Yeah, please tell us.
No, like you rightly said, super awkward, and I don't think I would have pulled that off the way he has it.
Or Hrithik saying, "Jo sikha hai, aapse sikha."
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Like,
Comedy hai.
Comedy, action comedy.
yeah, like a spoof. Something else happening there. You've always mentioned how you looked up to him because you followed him so closely, and then of course your dad put out this wonderful tweet, mentioning how he took care of you at the set of King Uncle, and you're with him in a film and literally doing what you look up to do him, like he's your mentor. Do you feel that?
I absolutely do. I'm very grateful that my goals and dreams have manifested, and I'm just very, very blessed to be a part of this ginormous project, and working with some of the best, if not the best people in the industry. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. And working with my hero, that's one of my checklists, that I can check
it's
off
like a
my
bucket list.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm sure you followed few of the interviews. I'm sure you get notifications and you're getting quotes that Hrithik has been saying in a lot of interviews about you. He had got sort of complacent about his workout and whatever. He was thinking, I'll do it. And then he realized that it was you on set. And he said, I can't go looking like that because I have Tiger on the other side.
He's being very generous with his words. But, he's the kind of actor who's experimented on both sides of the spectrum, He's done what I've done. And he's done what, another great character actor can do, except, he takes it to an extreme on both ends. So anything in between is just a piece of cake for him. That being said, he was on another extreme before this film, and now coming to this character, it's on the other side of the spectrum. So I think what he means by that is I was just a sort of a reminder to him that we're in a different ball game right now, and it's a different film altogether. So I'm just glad that I could be of some help in that sense to him in terms of he says, he keeps telling me that Tiger, I may have inspired you in the past, but now life is coming into full circle and you're inspiring me. I don't believe that, but that's very sweet of him to say. So I do my best to sort of look my best in front of him simply because I just want some appreciation from him. And when he compliments me, it's the best feeling on earth.
It takes probably way more effort to pull out well coordinated action sequences like the ones that you have in the film. But of course, I think action is never sort of taken seriously when it comes to critically sort of appraising it. And you've been on the side of that as well.
What you're saying is right, because people feel action or comedy is very easy to do. and to make socially relevant films with messages is the order of day, and that's what gets you the recognition and the appreciation. But I think everybody understands that when you go out there to make an action film of this scale, it's just too difficult. I'm not saying that because we've done it, but just the fact to get the resources together, even if you have the resources, then to apply, the application is something which is paramount, which is you can flounder. There are always at any given point in time, there are 250 people on set, and there are two actors whose safety is also something that you need to keep in mind all the time to make them do all that, to push them. So then design it, then execute it, edit it, bring that kind of background score to it. There's a whole process to it, and then the VFX comes into play. So people just disregard it, but one day, I think soon enough, when the making of this film comes out, people will appreciate how much effort, pain, blood and sweat has gone down to make War.
What were the major hindrances that you feel as an industry we can probably sort of sort it out to make films like this probably an easier, smoother process?
I think the major hindrance actually is for two heroes to come together to do a film. We're enjoying this. I'm enjoying it as an audience first, to see this poster of two mega stars in an action film. I think they should put aside their egos and come together just to entertain audiences like people do in the West. People here are too consumed by screen presence and number of pages that I'm in the script. I think that is a very small thinking. I think people need to just move out of that, comfort zone and just try and entertain audiences. Yeah, and obviously, yes, script is really important. Your part is important. I mean, just be open to it, because I'm glad that Tiger and Hrithik were not resistant to it.
Nora Fatehi once, in an interview, Nora had said that actors still are appreciated for their acting, but dancers are never taken seriously at all. The kind of accolades that an actor get, dancers don't get that. You take dancing as seriously as you take acting, and you enjoy it. How do you look at this? Do you agree with what Nora is saying?
I think Nora is right. I mean, for example, my personal experience, and since you guys are on that same very topic, I've been doing action films all my life. I mean, whatever, I've just started my career, but I've been doing action films this whole time, and we don't get that critical acclaim, people sort of, I don't know if you can say take us lightly, but it's not taken
seriously,
like how a content driven film would be taken. I mean, just because you have action in your film, for example in War, that's not the primary thing we're trying to sell. There's a very valid story, there's a strong emotion, there are two actors who are trying to convey their characters as sincerely and honestly as possible. And just putting together the whole package is very difficult, like Siddharth sir said. The action is simply a decoration. If we weren't able to perform as actors, then the action wouldn't be as believable. When we're fighting, there has to be a certain expression, a certain mood on our faces, and that requires some level of acting. So it's really easier said than done.
Yeah, and same for dancers.
Same for dancers, yeah. For example, in our song Jai Jai Shiv Shankar, for the audience they probably wouldn't realize, but for us as actors, Hrithik sir was in character, I was in my character, and we were dancing sort of similarly, but at the same time there were minor differences in that
approach.
In the approach, he danced the way his character would have danced. I danced the way my character would have danced. These certain things sometimes are not registered by the audience, but as actors, as dancers, there's a lot of prep, there's a lot of thought that goes into everything that we do. For dancers, every step; for actors, every dialogue, every scene; for an action hero, every punch, every kick. There's a lot of thought, there's a lot of work that goes into every small movement.
I have to bring this up. I saw this lovely campaign, I know it was a brand campaign that you did, where you spoke about how you were perceived when you entered the industry. that, and you've spoken about it, I think the entire context of Chikna and how, you were saying कि ये यही role करता है. Today when you look back at where you are, with him, at your journey, how do you look at that part of it, at the judgments that you faced and where you're standing today?
I mean, I think it's all part and parcel of our job, really. I'm nobody to sort of complain. I mean, my father's survived in the industry for about 30, 40 years now. And, the three biggest stars of our country, the three Khans, for example, I mean, if they've been judged at some point in their career, then who am I to really complain? The least I can do is just put my head down and work hard, really.
Okay, fair enough. Very few actors in the industry, and this is true, say that they do the action for themselves, but very few of them actually do it, to be very honest.
Right.
Hrithik, I know, and they always have been because they themselves practice that kind of action. Where do you think you as a director get worried? Because studios are always worried that are we letting our actors do it and what will happen? And B, shouldn't we do something for the stuntmen, and often that with accidents that happen in the set, and shouldn't there be a better sort of package that happens for them as well, for body doubles and stuntmen?
I think we're in a much better space than what we were a few years ago. I'd say that in terms of safety for the stuntmen as well, because we're always worried about the actor, about their safety. But what's changed is that the stuntmen are also taken care of. Their safety is also taken care of. We give them enough time for prep. Everything comes down to prep before you take the shot. We always saying that let's do rehearsals without the actor, with the stunt doubles. We give them prep. Take your time. Make sure everything is secure. All we can do is obviously take care of things at the back end, that we need to create a fund for them so that any mishaps or anything of those sorts happen, that takes care. Obviously the filmmaker first should take care of that, but we need to create a fund so that when they retire, that takes care of their pension and stuff like that. But that's a movement that needs to be taken care of from the producers, forums and the guilds and stuff like that.
Of course, after this year, and I'm sure you're shooting as well, Pagi 3 already. Does that feel like home when you're going to you start, when you go a set like that?
I wouldn't say that because Siddharth sir and Hrithik sir, Adi sir were, they treated me with, the same, same vibe really. And I felt like I was at home, I felt secure, I felt protected.
Yeah.
So that really is nothing that, I'm happy to be, going back to that franchise, and I'm blessed that there's already a part 3 being made in my, of one of my films, and it's been 4.5 years in the industry for me. So that definitely feels good that I own a franchise like that. So very happy. It's definitely going to be a challenge, especially because I'm following up from such a mammoth film like War. So I've got to be at my best over there as well.
I'll start first with the promotional campaign that you all yourselves did, which I thought was extremely clever, where you sort of said hiding behind fear, hiding your fear behind a mask, and he sort of gave it back in his t-shirt saying, flying away from this war already. Yeah, I think taking pot shots and having a little fun is so much important, but actors sometimes take themselves a little seriously, some of them.
I mean, we were presented this idea by the marketing team.
Yeah.
And we were given a lot of options, and I think we ended up choosing which ones were cool and which ones are funny and which ones were apt. I think they're really cool, and the fact that people are picking up our dialogues, that's a huge compliment. And it's awesome when people remember moments from your trailer, and the feedback that we've been getting, people just been praising and commenting, and you say, oh, we love that shot in your trailer, oh, we love that shot, or we love Hrithik sir's introduction shot on the plane, or we love the shot of you ripping off your shirt. So it's a very flattering feeling for for us artists when we get that sort of feedback.
Whenever I went with John and we spoke about action, and John really understands, he's taken the burden of the action tag, and he says that whenever I try to do something different also, they just assume that just because I'm an action star, I can't really become, like a normal person or an underdog when I'm playing a character like that. Are the roles being offered to you in that direction as well? Do you get that
I am, but I enjoy this genre very much, and I love being typecasted. Yeah. It's a huge high for me to have an identity through something that I feel I can really push myself in, and I feel like I have so much more to explore in this genre. Especially in a time where there's so much competition, healthy competition, how does one stand out? So I believe that having an identity really, really helps. Yeah.
John himself, and he speaks very fondly of you in every time, and he brings up saying one person that I really hope does well is Tiger, because besides the fact that's been brought up very well, he's very humble in humility, and that's what will take him forward. How do you keep it real?
Well, that's very nice of John to say. The feeling is absolutely mutual, and how do I keep it real? Well, I look at somebody who's real, like my dad. He's been around for 3 decades now at least, and he hasn't changed. He's had very humble beginnings. I mean, he was literally a chawl ka ladka, and he used to speak a certain way, and he still speaks the same way. I mean, we all know that. And no matter where he is, no matter who he's with, he'll make that person feel like they've known each other for donkey's years.
Yeah.
So I think a lot to learn from my dad. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Good luck to us.
Good luck to you
Good
guys.
luck to everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Watch E-Town News Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. only on Zoom.